So I'm a Muslim Pakistani, and throughout your speech, you were talking about Pakistani Muslim gangs, and you were talking about Muslim men raping girls, Pakistani street gangs, Pakistani Muslim youth. And my question to you is twofold. Firstly, do you see that there's a problem in identifying any sort of criminals as Pakistani and Muslim, and do you see that there's a problem in identifying them as that before you identify them as what they are, which is a rapist, a murderer, a suicide bomber, a terrorist?
First of all, you're from Pakistan and you're a Muslim.
Yeah.
You get a hard time walking around Luton without your hijab on by many of these people I'm speaking about. But when I identify them as Pakistani Muslim gangs, there's a reason many of these gangs were not targeted or not dealt with. That's the reason. It's not because they were criminals that they weren't dealt with. That's why they weren't dealt with, because they were Pakistani and Muslim. So when I'm identifying them and talking about these issues, I don't, you know what? I've generalised a lot over the last 5 years, yeah? A lot. And I don't mean to generalise to make all Muslims feel that way, but I see an issue, I talk about it.
Fair. And what would you respond to someone who sees that a lot of these issues that come about in Muslim videos, etc., have to do with how easily these people can fit into British society, or how easily, how alienated or isolated they feel from British society? And do you see that perhaps identifying them as Muslim or Pakistani before you identify them as British, because a lot of these people have been British born and bred, have had generations living in England, a lot of people would cite that as a reason for why these people feel the need to act in such an extreme way?
To be honest, we've seen the English Defence League fall in 2009. Every town and city, they're as divided as could be. It's got nothing to do with what we're saying or what we've been saying. It just spoke about how I should identify them. If you ask them to identify themselves, I've heard many of them, I'm Muslim first, Muslim second, Muslim third. This is with the people I'm talking about. So, I am, yeah.
But you said in your speech, for example, that a lot of the majority of the people that you've seen in Luton do not hold to the same extremist beliefs.
Yep.
And that's something you said. Why do you think then the people who, if there's a majority of people who do not think in the same way, why do you think that the message of Islam, the face of Islam in local government councils, etc., is being monopolized by these people? What do you think is...
I think it's being monopolised because in towns like Luton, the people who are pushed forward as the face, as I've said, are Islamists. So that's who our council are working with, and the discussion I'm having with these Muslims that I'm meeting in Luton this week is they're fed up with that as well. They believe that the council are working, which they are. When I met to see Theresa May that day, she said, "I assure you our government have a tough time on extremism." So, but whatever your government does, it doesn't filter down to my Labour-run council, because you are empowering these people. And what we've been asking for years is, when are the Muslim community going to do something about these radicals that are here? And I know we're 5 years in, and we're seeing more campaigns and more things happening, but that would draw such a clear line, and it would make people understand that they're not sympathetic to it in a way.